What's up, y'all? It's Key back again with another video. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about hearing God's voice. So the Lord had told me that He is speaking to people, but they just don't recognize that it's Him. And so I can definitely relate in that area because I look back at times where I seen that Jesus was speaking to me and I just didn't know it was Him. I would just be like, something told me, or something said, or I'm here because I felt something was like. And so, like, I didn't know His voice because I didn't have a relationship with Him. And when you don't have a relationship with anybody, it's going to be hard to know their voice. If some stranger starts trying to speak to you from a distance, like, you're not going to turn around because you don't recognize that person. You don't recognize their voice. And so you might recognize your mom's voice, your dad's voice, siblings, and you might even recognize like your favorite artist's voice simply because you're spending time in their music. And so if you don't spend time with the Lord, it's going to be hard to hear His voice. And so the best way to hear God's voice is reading the Bible. And the Bible says God is His word. So that's just saying that's Him. Like, that's His word. That's Him. So it's about spending that time in the Bible to hear His voice. Like, you're spending that, like, you're building a relationship by reading what He has given in that Bible. And so there has been times where God was speaking to me and I literally had no clue it was even Him. Like, I would say statements like, something told me, or I felt like something was saying, like something along those lines, which it was God speaking to me, but I just didn't know His voice. And in the Bible it says, my sheep know my voice. Well, I wasn't really following Jesus the way I should have been. I mean, I always believed in Jesus, but I wasn't building a relationship with Him. I wasn't actually living, the right lifestyle. So of course I couldn't hear His voice, but thank God that He's so gracious and that He's so loving and caring that He still, made some things happen to get me to where I am today, even before, So that little like voice that you feel like something told me or something said, that's God. That's discernment. That's God speaking to you. And a lot of times we don't know that because, like I said, we don't have a relationship with Him. And so I just have like a few stories that I can tell you how God has spoken to me. So I'm going to start with times when I didn't have a relationship with Him. And so my story of me moving down to North Carolina, God had stirred some things up when it came to like my jobs. I was getting fired from my jobs like left and right for no reason. It was just like some little simple petty stuff, or like some he said, she said stuff. Like, it was like just some weird things. And so at the time I was like, something saying moved to North Carolina. At the time I did not know it was God, but now I definitely know that it was God, because God had a plan and a purpose for me down here. And I'm so thankful because I wouldn't have all the things that I have, or I wouldn't have all the friends that I have, or I wouldn't have the church that I have if I never moved down here. And so that was one of the times where, He spoke to me and told me to move to North Carolina. At the time I didn't know it was Him, but I'm thankful that He still speaks even when we don't know that it's Him. But we can look back and say, you know what? That was God. God told me. So that's what I say now. So I don't be like, something told me to move to North Carolina. I'm like, nope. God told me to move to North Carolina. And so once I started to build my relationship with Jesus, like in 2018, like I said in the previous video, I was going through a very, very tough time. And so like, I had my apartment and everything like that, and I didn't get all my furniture and anything all at one time. I would always get things like here and there. And so I had got the coffee table behind me, and then I wanted something to put on top of the coffee table, which is these flowers right here. And so, like I said, I was going through a very tough time. I was in a depression, and I just wanted something to brighten up my apartment. I wanted something. And so I was watching Dollar Tree hauls on YouTube, and it was like a current one or a very recent one, and it was like this lady, and she was like, Dollar Tree has these really nice white flowers. And now I'm not good at live plants. Like, them things would die right in my hand. So I was like, I need some fake ones. So like I said, I was watching this YouTube channel and she's talking about these white flowers. So I was like, I'm gonna go get some. Like, so like that same day, I hop in my car and there's two Dollar Trees. There's one if I come out my apartment and turn left, and there's one that I come out and turn right. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go to this Dollar Tree down this way. But the Lord was like, no, I need you to go to this Dollar Tree down this way. But I was like, I'm just going to this Dollar Tree because I don't feel like going over there. Which they're like the same amount of distance. I don't know why. I just was like, I'm just gonna go this one. So I go to this Dollar Tree and they don't have any white flowers. So the Lord was like, go to the Dollar Tree that I told you to go to. And so I'm like, nah, I'm just gonna go to the Dollar General, that's like right across the street. And so I get to the Dollar General, and I get there, boom, there's white flowers, and I'm like, oh heck no, like these white flowers, they're like $5 for like one flower. And I'm like, I know I need a bundle of them. So I also have some in my bathroom, so just imagine I probably would have been spending like $20-$30 on like two of these. And so he was like, okay, I told you to go to that Dollar Tree over there. And I was like, no, I don't even feel like going to the Dollar Tree or no other store right now. So I'm gonna get on Amazon. So I get on Amazon. Again, too expensive. I didn't want to buy no expensive fake flowers. So he's like, okay, Era, just go to the other Dollar Tree. And so I'm driving towards the other Dollar Tree, and I was like, I'm just gonna go home because I had to ride past my apartment. And he was like, Key, just go to the other Dollar Tree. And I was like, okay. So I just drive to the other Dollar Tree, and as soon as I pull up to the Dollar Tree, it's this big old thing on both sides of the door of a bunch of flowers, and there were so many white flowers, and I'm just like, and I just broke down and started crying because I was like, oh my God, like the Lord was trying to tell me which Dollar Tree to go to, but I didn't want to listen. And it just basically taught me, like, when I listen to him and I understand him and I can hear him, he's going to lead me to where I need to be. He's going to lead me to the best place possible. Like, he knows more than me. He thinks better than me. He sees way afar than what I can ever see. And so it just, like, made me just be like, okay, you know what? If I listen to God, like, I know he's going to lead me into the right place. And so that was just so amazing to me. Okay, so now I'm going to tell y'all a story about how I got my job. And this is before I knew God's voice. So just listen to this. This is what I'm talking about. When you try to do you, not knowing God's voice, this is what happens. So I was working at the mall, and of course, like, I wanted a better job. Like, I was fresh to North Carolina, and I wanted me a better job. And I remember my brother's best friend was like, hey, my mom, she works for Coca-Cola. Like, I'm gonna give her your information so you can get the application and everything like that. So I'm like, okay, bet. His mom ended up reaching out to me. She sent me the application to apply. I did not know his mom. I didn't know her from a can of paint. And so she sent me the information. I never applied for this job, y'all. So I left the mall and went and worked at a diner. Somebody make it make sense. So you gonna pass up Coca-Cola to go work at a diner? Somebody make it make sense. So that job didn't last too long. I ended up getting let go over some he said, she said stuff, and I'm just like, okay, God, like, what's good? Like, why can't I keep a job? And he's like, go to Coca-Cola. And so I ended up going to the airport. I thought that I was going to have a good job at the airport. I mean, it's government ground. So I see the application looking real good. I'm like, okay, like, they got the details on here. Like, okay, I can do this. It's that aircraft cleaning. So I'm like, okay. I'm picturing me outside with the hose, you know what I'm saying, spraying the plane. Nothing like that at all. So come to find out, this job is when the passengers come off, you go in there and you clean up all the little nasty tissues outside the backseat pockets. don't touch them backseat pockets, and bring out some little wipies to wipe down them seats because it's nasty on there. See, look, I'm about to put y'all up on game for real, because it ain't where it's at. You gotta clean the bathrooms, all that. This is from me not hearing from God, not listening to him, and not knowing his voice. So, y'all, I'm at this job for like a year, a whole year, because I didn't know where else to go. So, I remember the Lord was like, go to Coca-Cola. But I just remember hearing everybody saying, oh, you better apply to American Airlines. Like, I'm hearing all my coworkers like, they got the best benefits. You can fly for free. They paying well, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, okay. So that's really why I stayed there for a year, because I thought that if I stayed at the airport and the job that I was at, it was going to be easier for me to get into American Airlines, because you have to go through a whole, like get your clearances and all that. And I had all that. Like, I, passed every background, check, because I was already in there. So I thought that if I stayed there, it was a guarantee of the job. So I was just waiting for them to open up the interviews. And so the time came. I apply for the job. I get the phone interview. I'm hyped. You know what I'm saying? I obviously passed the phone interview because I get the face-to-face interview. And so I go to this interview, and I interview with this guy. And so he was like, I don't actually do the hiring. I just do the interviewing. And so when I got done with my interview, he was like, there's no doubt in my mind. He's like, you're going to get this job because you answer every question so good, so perfectly, in a timely manner. You're going to get this. And so I'm like, all right, bet. I'm hyped. I'm leaving out of there. The guys, like, people actually they're hiring, they were like, we're going to send an email or give you guys a call by like 2 o'clock. And so 2 o'clock coming, I'm like, like, I didn't get a phone call, I didn't get an email, I didn't get nothing. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe like they just forgot, like, or maybe something happened and some time got pushed back. And so days went by, and I'm like, dang, I didn't get anything. So I was like, let me go check my Gmail. So I go check my Gmail, and I type in American Airlines, and I see the email, and it says, sorry, we chose the next candidate. I was so hurt, y'all. I'm like, okay, God, like, what's good? Now, I would always talk like that. I would always be like, okay, God, but I just really didn't know his voice. That was just the way I talked. And so I'm like, okay, God, what's good? And he's like, go to Coca-Cola. So I was like, I'm going to Coca-Cola. At the time, like I said, I did not know it was him speaking to me. I would be like, it was something telling me to go to Coca-Cola. But in this instance, we know that it was God telling me to go to Coca-Cola. So I go and I apply for this job. And I get the job, like, right then and there. Like, so I had actually 2 jobs at the airport. We ain't finna talk about all that. I had 2 jobs working day and night, but we not finna talk about all that because, like I said, that comes from me not hearing God's voice. So it was just a hot mess. Like, so like I said, I get this job, and the job wasn't paying that well. Like, my position was not paying that well, and I quit both of my jobs to go to this job. I don't know. I guess I did have faith that something was gonna shake, like something was gonna happen, like where I was gonna get by. And I remember when my old supervisor was like, Kier, like, you're quitting both jobs. Like, how much are they finna pay you? And I was just like, oh, I don't know, but I'll be good, this and that. I just knew that my schedule, it was because I already knew, like, I was going to work like Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. So, like, I knew that, like, there was no way I was going to be able to have, like, their jobs, because, like, the schedules wouldn't correlate. And so I'm there, and I swear, like, 2 months later, I get, like, a raise. Like, let me see. I get a $3 raise. And I'm like, okay, God, like, I see you, like, you know what I'm saying? I got a $3 raise. Like, I'm working Monday through Friday. I got the weekends off. And so, not too long after that, this was all in the same year. I started there in February of 2016. So, all this happened in the same year. I get another $2 raise. Y'all, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I got $2 raise. Like first I got a $3 raise, and I got a $2 raise. Like at this point, like I'm like, now I see why I was supposed to come here. Not the time, I really didn't know it was God. I kind of say it a little bit, but I just really didn't know that it was him. I didn't know it was his voice. And so I say all that to say is like, all I had to do was just listen to what God was telling me to do. All I had to do was just, be in tune with him. And even though I didn't really know it was him, like I said, he was still gracious enough to still send me to where he wanted, because we cannot mess up God's plan. When God has a plan, he gonna get his plan done, even if it means he gotta take you out the equation and use somebody else. So I'm just so thankful that he did not give up on me when it came to going to where he told me to go. So I say all that to say is like, when you can hear his voice, it makes life a lot better. I'm not saying that God speaks all day, every day to you. There's times where he's silent. But when he does speak to you, it's good to know his voice. That way you don't end up in situations like me cleaning bathrooms on a plane and pulling out snot tissue up the back of the airport or the plane backseat pockets. Come on now. So just get in tune with Jesus. Open up your Bible and know his voice. Like, listen to him. He says, my sheep know my voice. And he also says he knows the plans for us. Like, so if he knows the plans for us, how do you expect to know what he has planned for you? Or how do you expect to know where he's trying to lead you if you can't hear him? So that's my story. That's how I hear God's voice. Like I said, it's not no loud, crazy, deep voice that I hear. It's just like a little faint. You feel it. You know it's him. And when you build a relationship with him, you'll know that it's him. Another way that God speaks to me is I'll keep on hearing and seeing the same thing over and over again. It can be in the sermon. It can be through my pastor. It can be in the Bible. It's because I keep on hearing it. And you can hear God's voice, but it's going to take for you to take some time out, get in tune with Jesus, read his word, and go on from there. I really do hope that this video has encouraged you guys in some type of way. I'm going to cut this video right here. Don't forget, when you move, God moves. And I love you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And hit the little bell, because obviously I don't post like in the schedule. So come back. I love y'all. Peace out.